basically in the marketing side, it's all about people. And
Yeah,
you have also worked in different geographies. So I'd
yeah,
like to point out your work during On Mobile, and you were serving as a business manager, if I'm not wrong, for curating the football content products. Am I right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I do want to get a good insight from you because it's a completely different geography, the Middle Eastern and the Africa region where you have served. So the customer behavior and the preferences also changes, and the cultural preferences definitely changes. Based on that, the corporate environment also changes. So I have two questions
yeah.
on this particular thing. One, how did you adjust to the corporate environment, if I may ask? And the second one, definitely, how did you devise the marketing strategy based on the different customer preferences?
Okay. Let me kind of tell you how I landed up in Africa. I was in automobile. I was working in the Bangalore office, and then an opening came up in our Nairobi office, and it had nothing to do with football. Uh,
Okay.
automobile is a company which services telecom companies with managed services. So, for example, if you're using Airtel, if you're using Vodafone, if you're using Idea, you would use a set of services. These are called value-added services, and
Mhm.
they're rarely ever managed within the telco. They would typically outsource these to a partner like Onmobile, who would then manage the service on behalf of the telecom company. These are branded by the telecom company. So, for example, the Airtel Hello Tunes and the Vodafone Dialer Tunes are one and the same product. They've just been branded
Okay.
different. And there would be some people from OnMobile sitting with the team at Vodafone or Airtel who would then figure out how to market this product, what would be the content mix, the entire management of the product lifecycle end to end. Now, this is what I went to Africa for. Airtel Kenya wanted somebody to come in and manage their Hello Tune service. Airtel had just launched in Africa. They were not very old. They were still kind of getting that kind of penetration that they were looking for. And OnMobile was one of the partners that they had. Now, I go there, and on the very first day, when I'm trying to figure out what to promote, right, what marketing to do, I realize I don't know the first thing about Kenyan tastes in music, right?
Yeah.
I have no clue what music they listen to.
Correct.
I mean, coming from India, we tend to look at the West as one single monolith.
True.
So Western music should work, hip hop should work. It doesn't.
Okay.
Every African country and every African subculture will have their own tastes in music. And I did not even know the names of the artists. I did not know the names of the songs. And I had these content providers who would come to me and say, so and so song is very popular. Please promote that. Now, when I'm promoting that, people are not buying it because this guy is pushing that song. He has his own business reasons to push that song to me, and it is not taking off. So here is what I did. I walked into the clubs and the pubs that you have in Nairobi with a pen and paper in hand. Africans love dancing. So every
Yeah.
time they would get off their seats and start dancing to a song, I would write down the name of that song. Next morning, we will start promoting that song. Like in India, you would have a message saying dial star 123 to download, I don't know, you know, Savaria as your hello tune,
Yeah.
right? Now, the equivalent of Savaria in Africa or in Kenya was found by going to clubs and writing down names of songs that were really making people dance. So that was working well. That worked well. We moved quickly from about 6,000 users to about 1 million users, and in a small frame of time. But what was also happening is every time I would go and sit down in a club, there would be this conversation where somebody would turn to me and say, "So which club do you follow?" And they're not asking you if you follow football. The
Okay.
first question is, which club do you follow? You're expected to follow Premier League, you're expected to follow football, and you're expected to have a favorite club. Now, I grew up in Calcutta. I've been a football fan all my life. So I got into these football conversations. Part of me as the marketer, right? Now,
Yeah.
you start thinking that, okay, is there money to be made here? Is there a business opportunity? And you do a bit of research and you realize that less than 4% of the entire country has a TV at home,
Okay.
right? Which means that every time there's a big match, so Kenya particularly are huge Manchester United and Arsenal fans, right? Those are their two big clubs at that point. I'm talking 2011.
Okay.
Uh, every time Manchester United would play a match, clubs, pubs, public places with TVs would get packed to capacity because people are there 1 hour before the match waiting for the match to start. And I'm looking at all of that and I'm thinking that why not create a service for them? OnMobile had a very, very successful cricket scores product in India.
Mm.
We were running this SMS service where you would dial a number, subscribe to the service, 99 rupees a month. And when cricket is happening, you would get score updates. So as a company, you take that cricket product, you transport it to Africa, and you make it a football product.
Okay.
So what are we doing now? We are giving out scores. We were very excited because naturally it was a huge football market and people would naturally love that product. And it failed so badly because cricket and football are fundamentally different sports. In
Correct.
cricket, a normal cricket match, you can have as many as 500, 600 runs scored between the two teams.
Yeah.
Right. And as these runs are scored, even if every 5 minutes I'm sending you scored SMSs, there is an update, there is a change.
Yeah.
In a football match, you're getting, let's say, every 5 minutes an SMS. And all of those SMSs say Manchester United versus Arsenal 0-0.
Sure.
Right? Which is boring. That was problem number one. Problem number two was all your major matches were happening only on Saturdays and Sundays in the evening. So Monday to Friday, you get nothing. Saturday and Sunday, you are bombarded with SMSs and you get very pissed off and you just unsubscribe from the service.
Yeah.
So we said, this is not happening. We need to understand the psyche of the customer better. Right. And that is when we started talking to a lot of consumers. We would just randomly pick up conversations at a bus stop, at a supermarket, wherever you're meeting people, right?
Yeah.
Coming back to your original question of culture, right? This was very interesting doing it in Kenya because you kind of walk into Kenya and you have all these baggage of preconceived notions that you walk in with.
Yeah.
When it comes to people, right? Here's the beautiful thing that I found. That when we talk about cultures, me being an Indian, me being a Bengali, me being whatever, and that person being a Kenyan, an African, whatever race, right?
Yeah.
We are as two races fundamentally different. But the moment you deal with people, not focusing on the differences, but on the similarities, you get to a very different place. He's a guy, I'm a guy. He's a football fan, I'm a football fan. And here are two football fans having a chat. He loves music, I love music. He loves it when Messi scores a goal, I love it when Messi scores a goal. So you find the commonalities.
Yeah.
And the moment you focus on the commonalities more than the differences, you would realize that the skin color, the accent, the nationality, all of that fades away. Then you're just an individual talking to an individual. And if that is done with a certain degree of mutual respect, a certain degree of mutual understanding, cultural differences just don't matter.